Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. Assuming athletes would be nude at modern Olympics, as there were in the ancient times, which discipline would be the most cringy or the most awkward to watch? Men's hurdles. A rapid testicle smacker. They could cut a little half circle in the top of the beam. Probably best to just cancel the Winter Olympics entirely. The team bobsled event would get uncomfortable real fast. With how thin those suits are, I don't think much changes, really. Men's slalom would become about how many flagpoles you could collect. Fencing. Oh, I have a story. Back in college, a friend and I used to fence epee after classes. Then because we were dorks we'd have these Errol Flynn equi running sword fights on the way back to our rooms. Now the thing about epee, as opposed to foil or saber, is that the whole body is considered a legit target. Stab his foot. Point. So it teaches you to lunge at areas that would normally be off limits. Maybe you see where this is going. We are being idiots. He's running, I'm chasing. He stops, turns, goes en garde, but it is sloppy, because running around like an idiot. I see an opening, and execute the best lunge of my life directly into his junk. Full extension, sword flexed into AU Olympic picture stuff. Now I am expecting to hear the tick of the tip of my epee contacting his protective cup, but that is not what happens. Instead, there is a muted squish, he goes white, and collapses. The moron was not only not wearing a cup, he had neglected to tell me, and I had tacked him full power right in one of his testicles. Missed the frank, got one of the beans, which swelled up to the size of a grapefruit, and he was walking funny for weeks. Oddly, we never resumed after-class fencing for idiots. I wonder why. You learned a powerful lesson that day. Fortunately, your friend learned it the hard way, and you learned it the easy way. If you lose your sword, you have a backup one. Now that's what we call bringing a sausage to a sword fight. Anything in the Winter Olympics. Hockey, the potential injuries, the skating, the goalies. Naked hockey. That just sounds like Tuesday. Curling, not for the reasons others have listed, but because it would go from feeling like the Olympics to a shuffleboard tournament at a nudist resort. Curling is milf-tastic though. Every day on Reddit I find out about fetishes I didn't know anyone had. Shine on, you glorious loon. Shine on. Ski jumping. Junk flapping in the wind. Junk flapping in the wind. The Elton John song. The dong flopped out long before the legend ever did. Triple jump. Sand. Absolutely. Everywhere. Not to mention the incredibly revealing camera angle at sand level showing the landing. Women with smaller vulvas would have an advantage, due to less wind resistance. Tan everywhere. Sand everywhere. January everywhere. Pairs figure skating. Especially when the between the legs lift. A misplaced thumb could get quite exciting. Removed. When I die, cremate me and spread my ashes near the 7-foot mark. Anything involving horses. I agree that horses are easier to watch when they wear clothes. I think they've already sent some of the horses home from Tokyo for wearing improper shorts. I may have confused different stories there. UN dressage. Men's pummel horse. Rings. I picturing an elite gymnast doing an iron cross with a raging boner, and just dead-eye staring at the judges. Sustaining an erection while that many muscles are in full tension should be impossible, but if anyone can do it, it's Olympians. Ice skating or speed skating. One crash and it's bye-bye junk. Ice skates are knives attached to shoes. I'm only going near those sports fully clothed and with protective gear. If they're naked, are they allowed skates though? Or do they just have to slide around on ice in bare feet as fast as possible? Two-man luge. Naked, barefoot ski jumping would be dramatic. Well, I assume that they still get skis. If that have to be completely naked, equipment included, archery would be pretty awkward. Just a bunch of naked people throwing arrows like darts. Two-man luge. What about four-man bobsled? Feel the rhythm. Feel the Saka. You excited? Yay man. Sorry. Everybody here talking about men's giblets in the wind and shit, but have you seen women's titties when they be hustly? I think you're all underestimating how fast Olympians move. When in sports bras they move as one, but they don't do that when naked. It won't be very sexy for most sports, I promise you that. It really hurts too. Ouch. And, if they are bigger, the force of gravity when they hit the bottom of the bounce literally pulls breath from your lungs, so larger chested women would be at a serious disadvantage in any sports involving running. Boobs are truly the balls of the chest. Chesticles. Basketball. Whole lot of extra double dribbling would be going on. Dunking on people would have ramifications. All I can think is the added disrespect. Imagine getting dunked on only to have a naked crotch in your face. Fencing's going to be painful. But the shooting is probably going to be one of those kinks I didn't know I had. Ooh, archery. Wearing only boots. This better not awaken anything in me. Yeah, I love the way a gun's recoil makes that booty shake. R/recoil views. Gymnastics. Did you want to admit to watching a whole bunch of 14 to 17-year-old girls jump around naked? That's how you get on a list. At least most of the other sports involve adults. Just for the record, in ancient Greece women didn't take part in the Olympic naked or at all. They had separated games, honoring Hera instead of Zeus, during which they competed fully clothed. Now I'm trying to picture hurdles while wearing a toga. Synchronized swimming would just be aquatic vagina presentment. That's my new band's name. Wrestling. Few months ago we were at an estate sale and they had a foot-tall Greco-Roman style statue with two guys wrestling. But one of the guys had a full handful of the other's cock and balls. It was really something to see. I still regret not buying it. It's a fairly famous statue. The original is in Florence. It's also a fairly popular statue. You know, it wasn't weird to ancient people. Not saying they didn't sexualize human body, I'm sure some did, some didn't. Just they were comfortable with it. It wouldn't take long for wrestling, dongs in the face and all, to seem perfectly normal. Commentator, and he still can't get that dong out of his face. I have to give the ancient Greeks extra credit on this one. Back in high school a fight broke out in the locker room after football practice, and let me tell you, fighting another human being while nude is one of the most awkward / terrifying things I've ever been through. Not saying they didn't sexualize human body, I'm sure some did, some didn't. Just they were comfortable with it. It is not surprising if we take into account that many of the things that are done privately nowadays were communal back then. Having baths, shaving, going to the bathroom, etc. Life was much more communal. Men's baton relay race. Just a baton handover waiting to go wrong. Wait a second, that's not the baton. Wah 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 wah. What are you doing, step runner? Vince Carter's dunk of death would be 10x more disrespectful nude, and it's already the most disrespectful dunk of all time. The dunk through Vince's nevers. The entirety of the Junior Olympics. We can just go ahead and cancel that lol. Women's gymnastics at the regular Olympics, too. The competitors are mostly under 18. Same with swimming. They would also be slower, which I think is funny. Any male sport, because if they are doing it as it was done in ancient times they'd have to tie their penis up in a coyotes masterisk or dob knot to avoid showing their gla, which was considered shameful. Could get really awkward today given that a lot of men are circumcised and don't have the foreskin to tie around the gla. Asterisk note, don't open the purpose tab on the linked Wikipedia article unless you want to see photos of actual knotted up penises. Edit, y'all, I know circumcision isn't prevalent outside the US and a few other countries, but relative to the ancient Greeks it's far more common. You don't all have to make the same commentary. The US also happens to enter more athletes than other countries and win more medals than any country, so circumcision would be disproportionately represented. We can give the circumcised ones the little helmets you put on falcons for falconry. Lol, what? This is so absurd. Thank you so much for bringing this to my attention. Also, I clicked the purpose tab, and I was not expecting it to look so festive. Amazing. You're welcome. If you think that's festive, I'm curious what your holidays are like. Right. They look like little presents. It's amazing how we've gone from showing your gla is rude to showing any penis at all is rude. In the same time we went from eating in public is rude to eating in public is totally normal. Although we also went from being gay is fine, why would it be a problem, to it's a deadly sin and back to it's fine * restrictions apply. Can't even dangle some balls, SMH. Who decided today I am going to add a photographic example of knotted penis to Wikipedia? Not shocked, more impressed by the effort. Some historian / history grad student most likely. I remember my old classics lit prof in college talking about dog knots at length because of how funny they thought they were. Luckily that's not my prof's because she doesn't have the proper equipment. After reading that wiki entry and seeing the pictures I am absolutely cracking up at the image of a guy standing there tied with the belt version looking at another guy that isn't tied at all and saying have some modesty. Geez man, leave something for the imagination.